Australia and Canada are two massive countries with low populations, incredible living standards, and friendly, welcoming people. Hello and welcome back to IT Lifestyle in Canada. I will be your video's narrator. In this video, we will compare two countries that are actually quite similar but are geographically far apart. After you have watched the video and given it a like, we will ask you which one you'd rather live in and which one you'd rather just visit, and why. We will compare their demographics, geography, economies, and quality of life, as well as include some interesting facts along the way. So let's start with their important demographics, starting with their populations. Canada is the more populous of the two countries, with 38.5 million inhabitants, ranking it as the 37th most populous country on the planet. Fun fact, California has more people than the whole country of Canada. Consider that. A western state in the United States has a larger population than the world's second largest country. Wow! With around 26.25 million inhabitants, Australia is the world's 55th most populous country, surpassing North Korea. Let's look at their population densities now that we know their populations. This one is astonishingly close and mind-blowing. So, with 3.93 persons per kilometer squared, a 0.85% rise from 2022, Canada is theoretically more densely inhabited, ranking 8th in the globe. With almost 5,700 people per square kilometer, Vancouver has the highest population density in Canada and the fourth highest in North America, after New York City, San Francisco, and Mexico City. Then there's Australia, with 3.42 people per square kilometer, a 1% rise from 2022, making it the world's sixth least densely populated country. Australia's population density in 2022 was 3.38 persons per square kilometre, a 0.99% rise from 2021. Their life expectancy at birth is really close to the following one. So, with a 0.18% rise from 2022, Australia takes the lead at slightly under 83.94 years. Australia's life expectancy in 2022 was 83.79 years, up 0.18% from 2021. Australia's life expectancy in 2021 was 83.64 years, up 0.18% from 2020. Canada came in second in little under 82.96. This places Australia 8th in the world in terms of life expectancy. And Canada is in 16th place. A 0.18% increase from 2022. The life expectancy for Canada in 2022 was 82.81 years, a 0.18% increase from 2021. The life expectancy for Canada in 2021 was 82.66 years, a 0.18% increase from 2020. Finally, in terms of demographics, consider the population's average age. A youthful population is typically a good thing. This translates to a younger workforce and a smaller aged population to stymie the economy and healthcare system. So Australia wins this one, with an average age of 37.9 versus 41.1 in Canada. Okay, let's move on to their geography, beginning with their overall land area. This portion should be fascinating because they are both enormous. Canada is the world's second largest country, trailing only Russia, with a remarkable total geographical area of just under 9.1 million kilometers squared, compared to Australia's 7.7 million, which places them sixth. Although Australia is an island, it is classified as a continent. However, it is officially the largest island on the planet. Let's go to realsizeof.com for a visual comparison of these two nations, where we can view the true sizes of these two countries side by side. Our three-dimensional environment is challenging to depict on a two-dimensional map. We can thus observe how big each country truly is in comparison to one another thanks to this website. We may compare the sizes of these two nations by taking them and placing them on the equator. So, while Canada is undoubtedly large, its dimensions are misrepresented on a conventional map. Now let's look at how much of the terrain of these nations is covered in forests and how much coastline they have, which is 16.2%, with 39% of it in Queensland. Australia has 34% less acres of forest than Canada does of its total land area. As a result, woods make up more than a third of Canada's entire area. In terms of area, Australia is home to the sixth most forests in the world, whereas Canada is third. Which one do you think has the most coastline? Before we disclose which one it is? Additionally, of all the nations on Earth, this one has the largest coastline. Therefore, if you said Australia, you are regrettably mistaken. Canada therefore has the largest coastline in the world, with 202,000 kilometers, followed by Australia, which comes in seventh with a meager 25.7 kilometers. To my amazement, Norway now boasts the second highest number of coastlines in the world. Okay, now let's discuss the economies and some financial data for these two nations. Once again, these two are neck and neck. There are startling similarities between these two nations. So let's start by examining their overall GDP. By summing up all of the money that firms, governments, and consumers spent within a specific time period, the GDP may be determined. With a $1.36 trillion GDP, Australia is the 13th largest economy in the world, which is actually very remarkable given that only 25.5 million people live there. This places them behind South Korea and above Spain. At the end of 2022, Canada will have $1.98 trillion, making it the ninth largest economy in the world, after Italy and ahead of South Korea and Russia. Canada's economy is a highly advanced mixed market economy. Its nominal GDP is 8th globally while its PPP GDP ranks 15th. Canada's GDP is actually expanding at a quicker rate than Australia's, at little over 3% in comparison. By dividing their total GDP by their population, we can get their GDP per capita now that we know their GDP. With an average of $62,620 per person, Australia really wins this contest compared to Canada's $52,790. Therefore, the average Australian has almost $9,500 more personal wealth than the average Canadian. In contrast to Canada, which is ranked 24th in terms of cost of living, Australia is the 16th most expensive location in the world to live. Because of this, the two countries are probably balanced. Finally, before we wrap up the discussion of the economy, let's look at a few short facts. Education spending in each of these nations is the same at 5.3%. Australia has greater inflation than Canada, at 7.8% as opposed to 3%. The 7.8% number for Australia was in line with Treasury predictions that inflation would peak at roughly 8% by the end of 2022, although it was slightly higher than many experts' projections of around 7.5%. Inflation in Canada has decreased from its peak but is still too high. Inflation is anticipated to drop to about 3% in the middle of 2023 and achieve the 2% objective in 2024 as a result of lower energy costs, stronger supply chains, and the continued economic impacts of higher interest rates. Furthermore, with 44 billionaires, Canada is 8th in the globe, while Australia is ranked 12 with 31 billionaires. Let's wrap up this part by taking a peek at the Big Mac Index. Seriously, however, this is a real thing. As a result, the price of a Big Mac in Canada is higher than in Australia, at $5.29 and $4.98, respectively. Let's wrap up the movie with some data and information about quality of life, an area in which both of these nations, in my opinion, thrive. High earnings, quality education, and excellent living conditions come to mind when I think about Canada and Australia. They are both imperfect, and there is poverty in certain parts of both of them. Let's start by taking a look at a not-so-great statistic for these two nations. Their obesity rates are nearly equal. They both have about the same proportion of adults who are considered obese, roughly 29%. This is hardly surprising given that both of these nations follow a modern, Western diet, and Australians certainly enjoy their meat, beer, and barbecues. Australia has more doctors per 1,000 persons in hospital beds, at 3.8 and 3.59, respectively. Australia is regarded as the top country in the world for school life expectancies. The total number of years spent in school is known as the school life expectancy, or SLA. A youngster might anticipate receiving education ranging from primary to post-secondary. As a result, Australia wins this contest with an incredible 23 years. At 17 years, Canada still ranks in the top 7 nations, which is really impressive. Australia, which is ranked 12th and coincidentally follows Canada in 11th position on the list of the world's happiest nations, narrowly misses making the top 10. Compared to Australia, which is ranked 13th on the Global Peace Index, Canada is the 6th most peaceful nation on the planet. Canada comes in at number 16, whereas Australia is in the top 10 when it comes to corruption. The final one is now here. In terms of military might, these two nations are once again neck and neck, with Australia having the 19th strongest force in the globe compared to Canada's 21st place position. Thus, it is now your time. Which one would you like to live in, and why? Let us know in the comments section below. When you do, let us know which towns or nations we should cover next. We can't wait to read your comments. Being a summer baby who adores the water, I would prefer to reside in Australia. However, as you are all aware, I am a native of Canada. It's yet another place on my bucket list that I want to visit soon. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. A like would be very appreciated if you found the video to be enjoyable or if you discovered something new. Once again, thank you for watching.